It's been nearly 7 years of Pokémon GO and a lot has happened. Like the game being downloaded over 600 million times, for example. And today I'll be sharing 100 Pokémon GO facts I think you should know about. Also, let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite fact about Pokémon GO? And did you know that if you type interactable in your friends list search bar, it shows which people you have not interacted with that day. If you hold your finger down on the Pokeball button and drag over the other buttons, different colors will light up behind them. Shedinja has 10 HP. Pikachu is the Pokemon with the most costumes ever released, with a total of 40 unique ones. Shadow Pokemon were first released on July 22nd, 2019, but due to a glitch, they were removed from the game and then re-released 3 days later. When Skyform Shaman is your buddy, it has a super unique effect when walking around. When it jumps or lands, small petals and leaves will come out from around it. There is no way to tell between a male and female Phoebus. When raids were first released, Tier 4 was the highest tier. Fleece King was the first person in the world to reach level 50. With the new Avatar item shop update, you can add multiple items to your cart, put them on your player, and purchase them simultaneously. There's a Pokemon GO gym at the White House. Smeargle will get the move of whatever Pokemon you took a snapshot of to get it. But if you take a snapshot of a Pokemon that has the move Return, the Smeargle will get a completely random move. 3 remote raid passes used to cost 250 Pokecoins, but they now cost 525. If you set Pikachu as your buddy, it will stand on the ground next to you. But if you walk 10 kilometers with it, Pikachu will sit on your shoulder. Apex Pokemon have different poses in your Pokemon inventory. The first starter Pokemon you catch when starting a new account will always have 10-10-10 IVs. If you purify a Shadow Pokemon that has fainted, it will fully revive it. You can tell which Pokemon you've already clicked on in the wild because they will face you, which is really important and helpful when checking for shinies. Whismur and Loudred have booty holes. It took Pokemon GO 7 years to release Kecleon into the game. The most viewed Pokemon GO video is Pokemon GO in real life with 138 million views. Male and female Relicanth have different sized jawbones. In order to remove frustration from Shadow Pokemon, you have to wait for specific in-game events to happen that allow you to do that. Pokemon GO gave everyone who attended Pokemon GO Fest 2017 a free Lugia as an apology for the event. This Lugia is actually considered a costume Pokemon and the only costume Lugia in the entire game. You used to be able to see what unreleased shiny Pokemon looked like in the Pokedex. Team Mystic is the most popular and best team in Pokemon GO. Since Nosepass is known as the compass Pokemon, it will always face north when in the wild, even after you click on it. Any shiny Pokemon that is caught with a Premier Ball has a 100% catch rate. If a Rocket Leader is at a Pokestop, you can unequip your Rocket Radar and potentially find a Kecleon there, but you won't know if it's there or not until you unequip your Rocket Radar. The in-game music will change if you set Meloetta as your buddy. Gyarados is actually a flying type, not a dragon type. In your Pokemon inventory, you can type for attack to find Pokemon with perfect attack stats. But you cannot type exclamation point for attack to exclude these Pokemon like you can with all other searches. Slacking faces straight on at you instead of slightly to the left into the Pokedex. When starting a new account, you can get Pikachu as your starting Pokemon if you walk away from the 3 starters 3 times. The governments of Qatar and Saudi Arabia have banned Pokemon GO from being played in their countries, but there are technically ways you can still play Pokemon GO there. You can only catch Spinda from field research. The idea of Pokemon GO originally came from an April Fool's joke at Google back in 2014. When you purify a Pokemon, each IV category goes up by 2. In 2016, the game generated a mind-boggling $830 million. You can tell the IVs of a raid Pokemon by its catch CP. Meltan is the only mythical ever that can be evolved, and it evolves into Melmetal. Shadow Mewtwo was the first ever Shadow Legendary to have its shiny released. You can see the catch CP of a Pokemon for a split second as the raid boss is defeated. In the top right of the screen, the boss's CP will tick down to its catch CP, which will show for a split second. Male Torchic has a small black spot on its butt. Shadow Pokemon do 20% more damage when attacking, but take 20% more damage when defending. Skitty faces to the right in the Pokedex instead of to the left like all other Pokemon. The most amount of active Pokemon GO players was back in 2016 at 232 million players. Question mark Unknown was only ever released for 2 days back in 2018. You can see 100% IV Pokemon in your inventory by typing 4-star. When battling in PvP and using a shield, the shield will turn red if the attack would have been super effective, blue if not very effective, and it won't change colors if the damage would have been neutral. Shadow Alolan Marowak was only ever available for 5 days. You can get better deals on items using Niantic's web store instead of the Pokemon GO in-game shop. The odds of getting a 100% IV Pokemon in the wild are 1 in 4,096. The most money Pokemon Go ever made in a year was in 2020 with $1.23 billion. Zarude was only ever released once during special research in 2021. All Pokemon that are evolved from an evolution item cannot be caught in the wild, hatched from eggs, be a raid boss, or be caught from field research. The only way to get these Pokemon is by using an evolution item, with the exception of being caught on the Daily Incense or as a Mega Raid boss. Mythical Pokemon, except for Meltan, cannot be traded. The only way to get a golden lure module is by sending a postcard into Pokemon Scarlet or Violet for 5 days. The odds of getting a shiny Pokemon on Community Day is 1 in 25. There is technically no way to beat Pokemon Go. You'll always know if you caught a Pokemon if the ball shakes 3 times, which is actually not the case in the main series games. The Porygon family is the only evolutionary line to require 2 different evolution items, one for each stage. You used to be able to get shiny legendary Pokemon from the Field Research Breakthrough Box. There are regional Pokemon that only spawn in certain parts of the world, like Mr. Mime in Europe and Comfey in Hawaii. Also, there's a total of 52 different regional Pokemon in Pokemon Go. You can now only do 5 remote raids per day. Lugia was the first ever legendary released in Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go has banned gameplay in 3/4 of China, North Korea, Russia, and Belarus. The last Premier Ball in a raid will always either half shake and let the Pokemon escape, or shake 3 times and catch the Pokemon. If it shakes once, you know the Pokemon is caught. The most dead Pokemon Go ever was back in 2017, where the active player count dropped to 65 million. If you tap the compass in the top right of the screen once, the game will point in the direction your device is pointing in. And if you tap the compass twice, the game will point north. Shadow Articuno was the first ever Shadow Legendary Pokemon. You can give a Pokemon exclusive moves it could no longer learn by using an Elite TM. The legendary birds used to spawn at Elite raids once the raid was defeated. When the 2 regional Shellos were first released back in 2019, they were accidentally released globally. You cannot trade Shadow Pokemon, but you used to be able to trade them back when they were first released. The Sinnoh Stone looks like it's comprised of diamond and pearl-like materials, which references the Diamond and Pearl Pokemon games, which is where the Sinnoh region was first introduced. Similarly, the Unova Stone is composed of black and white materials, referencing the Pokemon Black and White games where the Unova region was first introduced. If you walk 10 kilometers with Eevee as your buddy, it will sit on your shoulder instead of sand next to you. You can fully heal a Pokemon in a gym by feeding it a golden raspberry. There's a small delay in Team Go Rocket's attacks when you switch Pokemon or when you use a charge attack. Throwing a curveball will give you more XP and give you a higher likelihood of catching the Pokemon. The Pokemon Go app icon has changed a total of 12 times. There was no speed limit back before December of 2016. A Pokemon Go Plus is a device that you can connect via Bluetooth that automatically spins Pokestops and catches Pokemon for you. You can transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go to Pokemon Home, but not from Pokemon Home to Pokemon Go. Before Pokemon Go officially released, there was a closed beta in Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and the USA. The first ever event was Halloween 2016. The last time Jesse and James were available to battle in Pokemon Go was back in October of 2021. There's Shadow Pokemon that you can only catch by finding, battling, and defeating Decoy Giovanni Grunts. There are 8 different evolution items in Pokemon Go, and there's 37 different Pokemon that require an evolution item to evolve. You can earn 50 free Pokecoins per day by battling and leaving Pokemon in gyms. The lowest amount of money Pokemon Go ever made was $580 million in 2017. If you reached level 40 before 2021, you were rewarded an exclusive Gyarados hat. Do you know any other fun facts about Pokemon Go? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out the other ones on screen. See you in the next one.